Say hello, Syracuse.
Fun, Jacob. Good morning, Mike. Okay, yep, so give me the camera. Yep. Good morning and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Minneapolis City Council. My name is Barb Johnson and I'm Minneapolis City Council President, and I'm joined by Councilmember Jacob Fry. And we have the pleasure this morning of recognizing a couple of groups who are here to join us today. And the first is the De La Salle boys basketball team. And so would you guys come on up front here if you wouldn't mind? Come on up here so to get on camera. Come on up. Kind of spread out. Okay. Yeah. You go over here. And, yeah. You go. All right. Make sure everybody gets in the camera here. Well, welcome. And first I want to recognize Barry Liskey, who's the president of De La Salle. And we'll introduce everybody else as we go along. Thank you for joining us this morning. And it's such a pleasure to have these young men with us today. They are three-peat in the state tournament and always fun to watch, really fun to watch. So we congratulate you for your victory and for all the hard work that you and your parents, I know, who drive you around to practices forever and ever since you're little kids, and the work that goes into that and the great work of your coaches. So I'm going to turn this over to Jacob Fry, who's going to read a resolution, and then we'll introduce everyone.
So I had the honor of getting a tour of De La Salle High School just a couple months ago from the De La Salle Benevolent Mafia, and I was really blown away. You know, at first I really didn't think much of it at all, and then I was introduced to the cafeteria, and what blew me away more than anything was that if you look around at the tables, not only is it about 40 or 45% students of color and minorities, it is about the most diverse place you could possibly imagine in this entire world. Everybody is sitting amongst each other. And that was such a stark contrast from where I grew up in the high school that I went to, and it was so incredibly refreshing. And I think the president, I think the principal, I think the coach, and I think this spectacular team, you guys deserve just such a ton of credit. So without further ado, whereas De La Salle High School of Minneapolis won its third straight Minnesota Class AAA state championship on March 15th, defeating Austin High School 60-40, and whereas De La Salle is only the sixth high school in the history of Minnesota tournament to win 3 straight boys championships, the 2013-14 team finished with a record of 27-3, were champions of the Tri-Metro Conference with a 13-0 record and champions of the section, 3 AAA prior to winning the state tournament, and whereas head coach Dave Thorson now has a career record of 450 wins and 125 losses. In his 20 years at De La Salle, the school has qualified for 12 state tournaments, won 6 titles, and finished as runner-up twice. Going back to 1927, De La Salle boys basketball teams have qualified for 45 state tournaments and won 20 state championships. And whereas the team compares as a microcosm of the entire De La Salle student body, the most diverse private high school in Minnesota, defined by every possible demographic, including socioeconomics, race, neighborhood, and family background. The 13 players and managers on the team came to De La Salle from 13 different grade schools, parochial and public, including every neighborhood in Minneapolis. And whereas De La Salle repeated as academic team champions for Section 3 AAA, honored for posting the highest cumulative grade point average among its players. 9 of the 13 players earned a place on the De La Salle honor roll in the fall semester of 2013-14 school year. All 5 seniors have been accepted to colleges during Coach Dave Thorson's career at De La Salle. Every senior has matriculated to college. And whereas, in alphabetical order, the team's roster included Sakar Anim, Eli Brimakam, Joshua Collins, Gino Crandell, Jeffrey Dalbonton, Cooper Doran, Jarvis Johnson, Sam Jones, James Lawson, Gonar Marr, Malcolm Porter, Mike Pucci, and whereas in alphabetical order, the team's assistant coaching staff included Todd Anderson, David Collier, Walter Franklin, Nicholas Grew, C.J. Hallman, Quincy Lewis, and Tim Swords. The team's trainer was Cindy Schlafman. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Minneapolis City Council that the City of Minneapolis it congratulates the De La Salle boys basketball team and coaches for winning the 2014 Class 3A state championship. I apologize for pronouncing all of your names wrong.
Oh, yeah, pronunciation is always a problem. All right. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Coach Thorson and ask him just to make a few remarks.
He's not here today. He's in Portland playing the Nike Summit. We are so honored to represent the city of Minneapolis. And one of the things that I get the opportunity to do and I'm blessed to do is I get to travel with these guys. We played in 3 different states this year against teams from actually 5 different places in the United States. And I can tell you that these young men take their representing not only De La Salle, but the city of Minneapolis and the state in a very serious manner. And I'm blessed that I get to hear all of those compliments all the time about the great young men that we have. We are so proud of our seniors that are going to college. Stanford University, the University of North Dakota, the University of Minnesota, Loyola University, and I'm missing one. There's 5 total. And the University of Sioux Falls. I'm sorry, James. So we're going to our seniors are matriculating to a number of different colleges that we're awfully proud of. Finally, and as been heard a couple of times already, we truly do represent all of the different wards in Minneapolis. And so, Jacob, we're just so grateful, Barbara, and all here that we have the opportunity to do this. It's such a strong message for these guys as well. So thank you. We're blessed.
Thank you. So, Jacob, why don't you give Mr. Liskey the resolution? Liskey, do you want to say a few words?
Well, I too want to congratulate these young men and young women for a fine job in representing the city of Minneapolis. You can be proud, and we are proud to be in the center of the city and to look like the city of Minneapolis. So thank you for your support, and have a great day.
Thank you very much. Abdi, why don't you coming down? Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. We also have okay. We also have the pleasure this morning of introducing a resolution that we're going to pass as part of our regular business on the City Council, and it is a resolution declaring that the 1st of July will be Somali American Day in the city of Minneapolis. So I'm joined by Abdi Warsami, who is my colleague, council member for Ward 6, and he is the first Somali American elected to the Minneapolis City Council. So why don't you say a few words, and then I'll read the resolution.
Thank you, Bob Johnson, President, and the council members and staff, and everybody who worked on this resolution. This is a very important resolution for me, and it actually came from the elders and from the community leaders who wanted to highlight the contributions, the culture, the values of the Somali American community, which is a large and growing population in the city of Minneapolis. And Minneapolis means a lot to the Somali American community, and I think this resolution means a lot. Thank you very much.
So this is a resolution of the City of Minneapolis, the mayor and the City Council, and it says, whereas the Independence Day of Somalia is a national holiday observed annually in Somalia and the diaspora worldwide on the 1st of July. And whereas many Somali refugees and their families immigrated to the United States, and today Somali Americans are one of the fastest growing immigrant groups in Minneapolis, and whereas, like many immigrant groups before them, Somali Americans sought refuge to the United States to escape war and persecution, to find opportunities and to better their lives and the lives of their children. And whereas Somali Americans play an integral role in building a vibrant and diverse Minneapolis, contributing socially, culturally, politically, and economically to our city, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Minneapolis that the 1st of July every year is hereby declared Somali American Day in the City of Minneapolis. In making this declaration, the city recognizes and celebrates the history, culture, and contributions of Somali Americans in Minneapolis. So congratulations. Would you like to come up and speak?
Magaaga sheeg.
Usman Muhammad Ali. My name is Osman Muhammad Ali, and I'm the founder and the executive director of the Somali Museum in Minnesota. And the reason we opened this museum is to educate the young generation who are born and raised here in the United States, as well as the other communities, Americans or other communities, who have not that much idea about the Somali culture and the Somali community heritage, and to learn from them. And this is to educate all the communities and learn from each other. And today, that's why I'm here.
And we will house this resolution at the Heritage Foundation. So there you go, sir. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
I'm going to call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Minneapolis City Council to order. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Here.
Palmisano.
Here.
Gordon.
Here.
Kano.
Here.
Reich.
Here.
Bender.
Here.
Glidden.
Here.
Yang.
Here.
Councilmember Andrew Johnson is absent. Quincy.
Here.
Warsami.
Present.
Goodman.
Present.
President Johnson.
Here.
There are 12 members present.
We have a quorum present. Next item on the agenda is adoption of the agenda, and we have a couple additions to the agenda. And the first is a motion by Councilmember Fry to add a resolution honoring De La Salle High School Boys Basketball 2014 Minnesota Class AAA State Championships, champions, excuse me. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? Next, we have a motion by Councilmember Reich to add under new business an ordinance introductions relating to the establishment of the West Broadway Special Service District and the 54th and Lindale Special Service District. Is there a second? I forgot to ask for a second on the other. Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Then on the agenda as amended, any other additions?
And I would move the agenda, Madam Chair.
The agenda as amended has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Next, we have acceptance of the regular meeting and adjourned session of March 28, 2014. Is there someone
So moved?
moved? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Next, we have the referral of petitions and communications and reports of the city officers to proper committees and departments.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Next, we have the reports of the regular committees, and the first is the Claims Committee, and that is chaired by Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam President. The Claims Committee is bringing forward 2 items for approval this morning. They include denial of the claim of Melissa Birch, as well as denial of the claim of Michael Brown. With that, I'll move both items for approval this morning.
Councilmember Goodman has moved the Claims Committee report. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Frye.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Community Development and Regulatory Services report. With that committee's chair, Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam President. The Community Development and Reg Services Committee is bringing forward 10 items for approval this morning. They include the passage of the ordinance on the hearing protection devices, a lease of some properties that the city owns on Columbus Avenue South, revoking a rental license at 3111 Upton Avenue North, the normal liquor business and gambling license applications, a business license conditions for Java Coffee, business license condition for a cafe at 3001 Hennepin, same for Sinners, Tibet Kitchen, and rental licensing conditions at a number of properties on the north side. Item 10 is also license conditions. With that, I'll move items 1 through 10 for approval this morning.
Councilmember Goodman has moved the entire Community Development Regulatory Services report. Anyone want to pull anything off? Any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Frye.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Health, Energy, and Community Engagement Committee. With that committee's chair, Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you, Madam President. The Health, Environment, and Community Engagement Committee is bringing 4 items forward for approval. The first is to authorize execution of 3 contracts for agencies to provide audit services and support for neighborhood organizations. The second is to authorize an increase in a contract for the Communities Transformation Grant to support tobacco prevention services. The third is to accept revenue of $5,000 from the Minnesota Coalition for Battered Women for participation in Project Connect to assist youth experiencing intimate partner violence. And the fourth item is authorizing an agreement with the Minnesota Department of Public Safety to accept estimated revenue in the amount of $46,307 to support youth violence prevention, the broader urban involvement and leadership development program known as BUILD. And I will move all 4 forward for approval.
Councilmember Gordon has moved the entire Health, Energy, and Community Engagement report. Anyone want to pull anything off? Any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Frye.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsame. is absent. Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Transportation and Public Works report. With that committee's chair, Councilmember Reich.
Thank you, Madam President. The Transportation Public Works Committee forwarded 14 items. Item 1 is the engine braking ordinance, is a passage of an ordinance amending Title 18, Chapter 474 of the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances relating to traffic code, vehicle operations, prohibiting the practice of motor braking, also known as engine braking, on Interstate Highway 394 in the city of Minneapolis. Item 2 is to authorize increase in contract to Height Camp Incorporated, $375,683 for the cleaning and lining of cast iron water mains. Funds are available in the existing project budget. No additional appropriation is required. Item 3 is authorize execution of a transfer station operations agreement with Waste Management of Minnesota Incorporated for the amount of $417,000 for the term of May 1st, 2014 through April 30th, 2015, with the option to extend the contract on an annual basis for 2 additional years. Item 4 is to approve the legal settlement in the case of Double Black Diamond Incorporated DBA Red Cow versus the City of Minneapolis, contingent upon modification of the critical parking area number 2, which is referred in item 5 before. This will have an early signature request of the mayor. Item 5 is that same critical parking area number 24, passage of an ordinance modifying critical parking area number 4 to exclude the east side of the Drew Avenue South, restricting the purchase of parking permits to residents on both sides of Drew Avenue South and the west side of Chowan Avenue South. This also will require early signature of the mayor. The following items referred reports to Ways and Means Committee. Item 6 is the Johnson Street Northeast 10th and 11th Avenue Street resurfacing project. I'll be recommending referral back to committee for that item. Item 7 is Burroughs North Area DuPont Avenue Street resurfacing project. Resolutions ordering the work to proceed, and a resolution requesting the Board of Estimate Taxation to sell assessment bonds for the project. Item 8 is the passage resolution canceling a street resurfacing special assessment levied against the property located at 2408 31st Avenue South due to full prepayment of the special assessment. And then item 9 is the passage resolution canceling salary repair for the assessment levied against the property at 4325 Zenith Avenue South due to full prepayment of the special assessment and authorizing a refund of principal and interest collected. Item 10 is authorized submittal of the application for a Tiger 2014 grant to implement the Nicollet Modern Streetcar Project, pending consideration of other regional transit projects and final authorization to submit an application by the city's rail policy group. Item 11, which I'll be seeking to lead, was a passage resolution authorizing funds from the Solid Waste Fund to fund the mayor's office to hire staff for implementing the sustainability policy. We're doing so because we found existing resources, and that position is intended to move forward as originally contemplated. Item 12 is the pothole repair funding increase. Passage of resolution increasing the Transportation Maintenance and Repair Division's general fund appropriation for fiscal 2014 in the amount of $1 million for the contingency fund to provide additional resources to perform accelerated level of pothole patching in 2014. I believe that's a very welcome item on the agenda. Item 13 is the Cedar Avenue Sidewalk Modification Project. There's a series of actions listed that will effectuate that. And item 14 is a series of low bids, Fisher Mining LLC to furnish and deliver aggregate needed through March 31st, 2015. Graymount LLC to furnish deliver quicklime for the water treatment distribution division, except single bid commercial asphalt company to furnish deliver hot mix asphalt as needed through March 31st, 2015. Those bids will require early signature of the mayor as requested in 14B. And then I will move approval of all items, Madam Chair, 1 through 5, items 7 through 10, items 12 through 14. I will refer item 6 back to the TPW committee and delete item 11 from the agenda. And just so committee members know, the item 6 is just a matter of clarification of property lines that are important for the resolution that was before us.
Thank you. We have Councilmember Reich has moved the Transportation and Public Works report. All items, including item 6, to be moved back to committee, and item 11 deleted from the agenda. Any discussion on any of those items? Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to comment on item number 1 for a moment, if I could.
Why don't you go ahead?
So I wanted to thank Councilmember Reich and members of the committee for helping end this 8-year odyssey on the issue of engine braking on 394. In case anyone was wondering what this was about, in many small towns around the state of Minnesota, cities in the state allow municipalities to prohibit large trucks coming into a municipality from jamming on their brakes and creating this very large screeching noise. Many of you probably have not had an opportunity to hear this. I had a constituent, more than one, contact me approximately 8 years ago about this issue. It turns out we needed to go to the legislature to get permission to put up signs. We thought it was done at that point. It turns out that once you get permission from the state, you have to have the city set a public hearing and actually adopt this local information in order to get the state to put up the signs. This has taken about 8 years to figure out the process, and that's why it's on our agenda today. So I really appreciate everyone's help on this, especially the folks in Public Works who helped make it happen. I thought it looked kind of odd on the agenda and would explain it.
Any further discussion on any of the items on the Transportation Public Works report? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Ways and Means report with that committee's chair, Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam President. Ways and Means Committee will bring forward 6 items for your consideration this morning. The first is a series of 2 legal settlements. The second item is to increase the contract with Gene Thorne, Inc. by $40,000 for continued administrative clerical assistance for the city attorney. Third item is increasing the contract for Black Constructors, Inc. By $33,000 for closeout and final payment of restoration repairs for the 3rd Avenue parking ramp. The fourth item is entering into a contract with Employee Strategies for services to design and develop curriculum for a new leadership development program. The fifth item is extending the contract with Savari Books Online for additional subscription for IT employee training and professional development resources. And the sixth item is the passage of a resolution for the Neighborhood Community and Relations Department to accept gift of exhibit hall revenues for 36 for-profit, nonprofit, and government agencies, and accepting financial contributions from the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe for the Community Connections Conference. Those are all the 6 items. I'm happy to move all items for approval.
Councilmember Quincy has moved the entire Ways and Means report. Anyone want to pull anything off or discuss any of those items? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Zoning and Planning Committee with that committee's chair, Councilmember Bender.
Thank you, Madam President. We have 2 items to forward today. The first is to cancel the moratorium amending Title 21 of the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances relating to an interim ordinance that provided for a moratorium on the demolition, new construction, or establishment of single and 2-family residential dwellings in Linden Hills, Fulton, Armitage, Kenny, and Lyndhurst, and to approve 3 staff directives. 1, to direct staff to implement and enforce the use of a construction management agreement for all unoccupied construction projects involving the wrecking, new build, or major remodeling of 1 and 2 unit dwelling structures. The second, direct staff to identify additional resources to meet staffing needs related to the implementation and oversight of construction management and planning related activities and refer the matter to Ways and Means Committee. The third is to direct staff to continue to study the growth and construction of 1 to 4 unit dwellings for the purpose of informing future development and to make recommendations on the zoning code of ordinances and planning process based on the study findings. And early signature has been requested of the mayor on that item. The second item is moratorium waiver for 4205 Xerxes Avenue to grant a waiver to allow for the demolition of a single-family home there. And I will move both items.
Councilmember Bender has moved the Zoning and Planning report and those items. Anyone want to discuss anything on the Zoning and Planning report? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have resolutions, and the first are these two resolutions that we read before the council meeting, and the first is the passage of the resolution declaring the 1st of July Somali American Day in the city of Minneapolis. Any discussion on that resolution? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Second is an honorary resolution honoring De La Salle boys, high school boys basketball 2014 Minnesota Class 3A state champions. Any discussion on that resolution? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. We have a motion by Councilmember Quincy that regular payrolls of city employees under council jurisdiction for the month of May 2014 be approved and ordered paid. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Next, we have, under unfinished business, the granting of appeal. Councilmember Fry, is this? ready
Yes,
to-
so the appeal has been withdrawn by the neighborhood. I think it was I think it was exemplary for how we should be working together between businesses, corporations, and the neighborhoods. What we now have going forward is McDonald's will be dropping $1.2 million into the facade and skin of the building. They're decreasing the lighting so the neighborhood doesn't need to look at it at night. They're improving the sound system. They're putting Northeast artists to work by incorporating some art onto the fence line. So the end result is the neighborhood has withdrawn the appeal, and I move that we remove this item from the agenda.
Councilmember Fry has moved to remove item 1 from the unfinished business agenda. Is there a second? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Next, we have under new business a notice of intent by Councilmember Andrew Johnson, who gives notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to food code, environmentally acceptable packaging, updating and amending various provisions. That notice is given. We also have a notice of intent by Councilmember Bender, who gives notice of intent to introduce at the next meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to animals and fowls, miscellaneous regulations, amending provisions related to the keeping of honeybees. That notice is given. Councilmember Bender also gives notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to the zoning code, amending regulations related to composting. So that notice of intent is given. And then Councilmember Reich would like to have unanimous consent on an ordinance introduction to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending Title 17 of the code relating to streets and sidewalks for first reading and referral to the Transportation and Public Works Committee, adding a new Chapter 432 relating to the establishment of the 54th and Lindale Special Service District, and adding a new Chapter 434 relating to the establishment of the West Broadway Improvement Special Service District. So we need unanimous consent on that. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is approved and unanimous consent is given. Any announcements this morning? Boy, we're getting done in record time here. Okay. No announcements. So the motion then, motion to adjourn would be a motion to adjourn to April 24th, 2014 at 12 noon at the Minneapolis American Indian Center for the purpose of receiving Mayor Hodges' State of the City address. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Okay.